All right, we are live. We are live. Oh, we got a couple of people in here already. All right, very prompt, I must say. I thought I was bad. Anyway, how's everybody doing? I'm back. We're going to be covering some information regarding the Orrin and Orson West case tonight. I want to thank you all for joining in on tonight's live. Going to be covering some information, just going over the case and giving you an update on some of the items that I've been finding during our overview investigation of the case. So I want to welcome everyone who's just coming in and joining us. We're just getting started. I give a major shout out to some YouTube content creator channel holders tonight to keep your eye on. They are on the beam on this case. And I've learned much from these content creators, as well as direct emails, text messages, things of that nature. So, yeah, we got a lot to cover tonight. So I won't belabor it, but we got some people up in here just rolling with it. Sonia Alston, CJ Jones, Robert Skirl. Good evening. Hope you all are having a pleasant evening and everyone's doing well in the family. You know, I always send my shout outs to you because you are the ones that make this channel go to work and stay at work. So I want to thank you all for joining us tonight and covering some general information. We're still waiting for brand new updates to hit this case, which I'm sure within the next week or two it shall, with the way the case is going. How many of you are familiar with the Orrin and OrsonWest case? Type of one in the room while we allow some other folks to come in and join us for tonight's chat. And also type of one in the room if I'm coming through loud and clear. You know how when we use StreamYard and YouTube and we start to get the fuzziness going on and things don't start working right, we just got to roll with the punches. But type of one in the room if we're coming in loud and clear. I started working on this case. All right, just rolling with it. Thank you. I started working on this case next to the Kanika Jenkins case and the Kira Coles case. I'm sure that everyone's aware of John Q working on these cases. And I'm starting to build and develop content for the Kira Coles case, as well as for the West case. I'm still working on the Kanika Jenkins case. That case has never left my desk. I have an open folder at all times to go back over, to restudy, take another look at information, try to get some updates, and put together content to bring onto my channel. That's the way to do these cases if you're presenting anything of this nature regarding cases like this to your channel, is to make sure that you do your due diligence, because presentation is everything, and making sure that you cover accurate content is most crucial, especially when dealing with sensitive information like this. So I haven't given up on the Kanika Jenkins case. That's my foundation, and so that work continues. I've also started work on Kiara Coles. I've been able to make some kind of contact so far with Joseph Coles, the father, on another channel, and we were able to at least go back and forth in terms of information concerning his current update as to where he is. And I'm looking forward to continuing our conversation and hopefully, most likely, bring him on our channel to give us a full update so that you can hear it directly from Joseph Cole's mouth, his thoughts, his viewpoints, and give us an update on the progress in that case. But tonight we're going to be covering information on the Orrin and OrsonWest case out of California. The two missing young toddler boys, ages 3 and 4, went missing on December 21st of 2020, was reported to police, California City Police, that evening that the boys had went missing by the adoptive parents, Trezell West and Jacqueline West, off of Aspen Avenue, and police began their investigation that night into the wee hours of the morning and continue the investigation to this day. Now, a lot has happened since then, and we know that the case has progressed to a different jurisdiction in Bakersfield. And so we hope to go over some information that will tie together a timeline. Anytime you're working a case like this, timeline is very important. And in fact, when we talk about a case like this, as any other case, and you are looking at critical information, time becomes the most important, relevant piece of information you want to tie together immediately, because it tells when things occurred, where it occurred, what happened, and who was involved. Okay, so we got some ones in here. We're coming in loud and clear. Hopefully we'll have, matter of fact, I'm going to do this. DeWalsh, how are you, lady? Thank you for joining us. Got some, hopefully we'll get some mods up in here tonight to cover the room, like if I need them. But, you know, our room is always a solid, good room. No drama, no craziness. Everybody's on a good standings when they come to John Q's chat, whenever he goes live, and I'm blessed by that. And everybody holds it down anyway, so I'm very well blessed by that. G Money in the house. Mary Hardison in the house. Jamel Hester's in the house. Queen Truth is in the house. It is drama free here. We like to keep it that way. And because we're talking about something important, we're talking about a true, live, living case. And we have to treat it with respect. All cases must be treated with respect because it deals with people's lives and families' lives, individual lives. I mean, your life, my life, everybody's life. We're all connected. And as I've said in my previous lives, we are all connected spiritually to each other. So for those that don't believe that, get over it. We are connected spiritually, but we are responsible for each other spiritually. Physically, we have our differences, yes, but spiritually, we have no difference because we're all connected to the same source. If that makes sense, type a 1. Because that's where we're all grounded in. We have a beginning, we have a middle, and we have an end. But our spirit goes on. We are spiritually connected. And so therefore, we should take responsibility to understand that. And then we can make better connections with people physically, understanding spiritually where we're all coming from. We all share this planet. We're all a part of the same nature, the same stuff, the same element. We have to start behaving as such. But with the way the physical part, the human part, the flesh part has been operating, we've seen a lot of stuff about us. But spiritually, when things of this nature occur to our children, or even any member of our family, or a member of somebody else's family, and it connects with us, it resonates with us. We feel empathy for what is occurring in another person's life. Yes, spiritually, we become connected and therefore responsible. And so, part of my message tonight is anyone covering this case, and I've met with, connected with several uh, YouTube content creators covering the case. We know that spiritually we're connected. So there's no need for drama. There's no need for bashing. There's no need for a competitive edge, if you will. We're all working together toward a common goal to reach an outcome called the truth and success. That's it. That's basically it. The rest of it is our lives. We go back to living. We go back to taking care of our families. We go back to doing the things that are most important in our lives to grow, to become. That's what we're doing here. So in that case, I'm not here to preach, but y'all know a piece of me. You know the way I stand with things. That's for sure. But getting into the case is going to be a simple procedure tonight because those that have gone to different channels and picked up on bits and pieces of case information pertaining to the boys, sometimes we can lose track as to how much information we get, whether it's accurate or not. And so sometimes, and I'm sure that the law enforcement does this a lot, especially in the field of investigation, is that sometimes to go forward, you have to step back a few paces and just double check where you've come from, just to make sure that you've covered your bases. And then, for some strange reason, something new happens, and then you go forward again. But tonight, we're going to be doing a little bit of that because I believe that California City Police Department, as well as the Bakersfield Police Department, the FBI, the DA's office, sheriff's office out of Bakersfield are doing the same thing. So it may appear to be quiet. We're not hearing anything. No one's talking. No one's saying anything. Trezelle and Jacqueline are not saying anything. The biological mother, Ryan Dean, she's not saying anything. Nothing coming from the grandparents' house. The police seem to be moving around with search warrants, but nothing seems to be stripping out of that, at least to give us some kind of an indication that we're getting closer to a conclusion in this case. So in looking at that, I began looking at this case as I do all cases and covering the information thoroughly. Y'all know I'm very thorough. I try to be. I try to be. Thank you to all for moderating tonight to get us going. And thank you all for joining us tonight. So let us begin. And you know how I begin. I always go to screen share, begin getting into the case and starting to get into the relevant facts of where we're headed. So with that said, let us begin. We'll get this going. Those of you just joining us, thank you very much. Coming in. All right. So here we've got screen share going on. And whenever I do a presentation, you know I have to put up a disclaimer because there are materials and information that I do share that comes from other YouTube platforms as well as local media platforms, news platforms, etc. So I'm only here for commentary based on the research that I've done It is for commentary purposes and research purposes, and it gives us the right to cover such information under the copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. With that said, here's where we are. We are talking about these two young boys here, Orrin and Orson West, out of California. This case started in California City, California, when it first appeared to us on December 23rd, when the adoptive parents, Giselle West and Jacqueline West, made it known publicly to the news media that their two boys was missing. And missing in a way that shocked us all. How does two young toddlers, ages 3 and 4, go missing and they are with you home? How does that happen? Hence the questioning begins. I'm just going to blow that up a little bit. That's one of the posters that have been posted out there alongside of the highway out in California. And from what I hear, more and more posters are going up, and the reward money has gone up as well. That from $122 to $125,000 is the current reward money for any information pertaining to where these boys are. And with people like myself and people like Boss Blake and people like Lady Queen, AV Watchman, Duty Ron, Crenshaw Incorporated, LV United We Stand, Queen Talks Crime, and a few other content creators out there that have been covering the case and on the beam with information, has been presenting some very, very good content and very crucial, critical facts as to where this case is. And they're constantly giving at least some great updates and not rushing the case to be the first one to say, oh, this has just come in. I have to jump online and make sure that I get my views and my clicks. They're not concerned about that. Thank God. They're concerned, as we are all concerned, they are concerned about one thing: the answer to the question, where are these boys? Where are our boys? Why did they go missing? What is this really all about? Those are the questions that will be answered in the course of this case. And I believe that they will be answered in short order. And when that time comes, we will have the facts as to how cause and effect occurred in this case. Because this is about cause and effect. For every cause, there is an effect. And for every effect, there is a cause. That's 1 + 1 stuff. Not science, geometry, or rocket science. People who can look at information like this can determine for themselves what has occurred, who is involved, but the most important thing, why did it occur? You have a beautiful family, 6 children, 2 adults. Excuse me. Yeah, 6 children, 2 adults, just living their lives, doing the everyday things that families do. And then all of a sudden, a strange occurrence happens and then they find two of their children goes missing. And the main question that I had is that how did they go missing when they were with you? Where were you when this happened? And then I found out that they were home. So how do kids go missing and they're in the house? And then the story unfolded on December 23rd in a press conference, news press conference, with both the adoptive parents, Trezell West and Jacqueline West, explained or tried to tell us what happened. But really, did they? Did they really tell us what happened? Or did it lead to more questions? And in my mind, it it just made more questions than I got answers. And in everyone else that covered that same information, that same press conference, the same result happened. More questions than answers. Funny, shady activity during that conference, giveaway, tell signs, told a subliminal story on a subconscious level about what had occurred and what could have occurred that evening. The boys went missing on December 21st. And so I began with my first live, and we covered as much information about that press conference interview as we could. There were a lot of tell signs there. We also noticed that the biological family was there in the neighborhood at the time the press conference occurred. And so my other question that popped up is, what are they doing there? If these boys were completely adopted and signed off on by a judge, excuse me, sealed records of adoption, then the biological family should not know where they are at all. Because once records are sealed, they're sealed. They're done. So I found it very strange that the biological family, they just showed up. The two biological fathers for the kids were there. The biological mother was there. The previous foster care parent was there. Where all these people come from? I know where these people live in such a short period of time. Well, hence the story unfolds. A lot of questions out of that began to trigger some things that we know now, at least to date. We know that something strange is going on. Something very strange is going on. Just listening to the first part of that interview and then seeing the camera pan over to the biological families and then hearing Jacqueline West say, that's why we didn't want to do this in front of the biological family. I said, what? They didn't want to do that interview in front of the biological family, knowing that there was going to be some intensive friction, as it was displayed at that news conference, at that press conference. And so we have to go back and really pay attention, as we all have, to that press conference, because there are a lot of telltale signs as to the behavior, demeanor, the words that were chosen to describe what happened to these boys. But first, before I get there, let us understand that looking at this particular case, I am looking at this case as a missing persons case, yes, but I also have to look at it as a crime. Because if the boys were taken, as Jacqueline West had stated in her statement to the news, that she believes that somebody picked them up, that's kidnapping. And hence, kidnapping is a crime. And so looking at the model, which I used for the Kanika Jenkins case, I began to use the same model and then take a look at the model to say, okay, we've got some information to fill in. It's easy to start because we already know the people are involved, the boys, the victims in this case. Also, the adoptive parents are victims too, I believe. This does victimize a number of people, but I'm just going to focus on the boys. And in looking at that, we then have to take a look at the next area, witnesses, statements, as we have done. Statements that Trizell and Jacqueline had presented to us, the statements that Ryan Dean, the biological mother, presented to us, as well as some other video clips of them at that time making statements. The statements from the California City Police Chief, John Walker. The interviews that were done with Police Chief John Walker by the news. I think it was Banyan Wang had did an interview, as well as Perla Shaheen of the two local news stations out there, ABC, and I believe the other one, I'm not sure what the other one was, had covered with the police chief. The physical evidence that they were able to obtain through a search warrant that was issued right away by the California City Police, and going in, searching the house, and searching the backyard, and searching the side lots in which the house sat on Aspen Avenue, and all other evidence collected by the California City Police Department was very crucial. We know that we saw what we saw in the layout of the house. So it was very interesting to find that the ground was dug up in the backyard. The holes that we saw in the backyard, I believe there were 9 holes off to the lower column. I'll be able to cover that with you in another slide. But physical evidence is a very, very crucial part of the story that was told. So what the California City Police tried to do was to match their story up to the physical evidence that was found, and only to find more questions about the story than the physical evidence that they found. Hence, we come to the next area of suspects or persons of interest. Now, we were told by John Walker that there are no suspects in the case as of yet, but we do have persons of interest. And he said that carefully, if you noticed. We have no suspects, but we do have persons of interest. We're still questioning people. We are still collecting evidence, et cetera, et cetera. But hence, everyone involved is a person of interest. Timelines. It's a major factor in this case. And the timeline between the time the boys were reported missing up until the time the police got there and began their investigation to date, now the boys are still missing. Timeline plays a very crucial factor in this case. All tied together with information still filtering in through our investigations model, all will eventually, in just my mind and in my belief, will add up to a crime. A crime in which we are all awaiting the arrest of either one individual or multiple individuals for a collaboration of effort that produced this outcome. Most people would deem that a conspiracy. Well, if you look up the word conspiracy, it means just that. It's not one of those hypothetical things. A conspiracy is two or more people come together to do bodily and physical harm to another individual or individuals. And those that are forging that harm on another individual or individuals, hence, they conspire together. So the word conspiracy is very real in this case, just as it was in the Kanika Jenkins case, and most likely as it was in the Kiera Coles case, most likely in the Kendrick Johnson case, et cetera, et cetera. So when people use the word conspiracy, please define conspiracy so that everyone can understand. It is a very realistic word to mean just that. If one or more people who are involved in conspiring against another person violate or trespass against another person, against their will. All right. So let us move to, as I said, sometimes we have to go back just a few steps in order to go forward. And I wanted to share this with you because there's specific pieces of information. And I like this reporter here because he's grassroots, down to earth. He gets to the points, gets to the facts, and he always recovers his questions in a different way to make sure that his audience understands what's going on. Let me find out what's going on in the chat. Because when I get rolling, I just keep going. All right. Wow, we got amazing 80 up in here. Nikki's up in here. Tracy Keene, how you doing? Got a number of people that joined up. Wow. Daggone, didn't take that long. Okay. And D. Walsh, I just wanted to find out what that was about. I think Mary Hardison had said something. Maybe some of you guys need to do research on how the adoption was handled by CPS. Okay. D. Walsh, don't block Mary Hardison. I want everyone's comments to be seen. Okay. If it gets to foul language and things of that nature, then obviously give them a little bit of a timeout. But everyone's comments are important whenever we do a live because I collect that information, I review it always as part of my casework. So D. Walsh, I'd appreciate that if we could just allow some people just to express themselves. We all have our individual perceptions and opinions as to what we feel and how we feel about this case. So but much love to you for monitoring the room, keeping things alive. All right. No, that's okay. That's okay. I just want to make sure that Mary Hardison is got free reign to express herself. She's important to this case. All of you are important to this case. Whenever we do a live chat. Okay, but let's begin by taking just a look back at just a few pieces of information that started building this case so that we can get a better perspective as to what had occurred in California City that's led this case to move now to Bakersfield, California. So let us begin. We can hear that? Yeah. Try it again. And this news clip was very interesting to hold on, let me just set it up. Wonder why I'm not getting any sound out of here. Just give me 1 second. Like I said, whenever we get into these areas, Find out what's going on. Just give me just give me a moment. All right, so we got volume there. We should have.
Authorities surrounded the home. They said basically, look, we got a search warrant, let us in. It didn't appear. Well, Jessica, this is the second search warrant executed that we know of here at the adoptive parents' home. Essentially,
I'm sure you heard that. This is the second search warrant. Now, the first search warrant was an immediate search warrant, but whenever a search warrant is issued, from what Chief John Walker said, search warrants are used as a tool to help them in their in the investigation. They don't really indicate any guilt or create a suspect, but it is a helpful tool that they use to get to the facts as to what happened, particularly in this case. However, when I went over this news clip, it was interesting to find out that there was a second search warrant that was issued for the adoptive parents' home. And I said, well, wait a minute. Didn't they collect what they needed to collect from the first search warrant? You know, Police Chief John Walker said that they collected their tech, the phones, computers, things of that nature. I'm sure that they collected other items as well. But now a second search warrant indicates that they may have missed something the first time, that they needed to go back a second time to get corrected. And so when I heard this, I said, let's see what else is new. So let us continue listening. A second search warrant now. Found that very interesting.
Actually, before 3 p.m., a bunch of officers and various authorities surrounded the home. They said basically, look, we got a search warrant, let us in. It didn't appear anybody was inside because authorities actually went in through the side gate over here and then eventually through the front door. The police chief told us after they went inside that there is still no suspect identified, or suspects, I should say, identified in this case. But before the search warrant was executed, he did reveal some new details about their investigation. With guns drawn, authorities enter the California City home of Trisdell and Jacqueline West, the adoptive parents of.
Now you heard that. With guns drawn on a second search warrant. This is a very critical piece of information, folks. With guns drawn. Meaning that police were definitely treating this particular crime scene as a threat in some way, shape, or form to their lives in some way, shape, or form. So they performed this second search warrant with guns drawn, indicating, well, to me, but giving us an indication that these are two primary persons of interest in this case. Clearly. So they wanted to make sure that when they entered this house the second time with the second search warrant, they were on more of the protection side of themselves, not knowing who else was going to be involved in this. So I found that very interesting once I saw this clip, but let's continue and I'll play it through.
Of 3-year-old Orson West and 4-year-old Orrin West. The parents told authorities their two boys disappeared from their backyard on December 21st.
We have no way of knowing how they got out of the yard. Nothing that shows how they got out of the yard and if they wandered out of the yard.
California City Police Chief John Walker believes this is now more than just a missing persons case. He believes foul play was involved.
Someone knows. And I would hope that person would come forward.
And that's why Walker says authorities have paid so much attention to the couple's home, even digging up the backyard in recent days.
We're just trying to dig up anything, any clues that we can possibly find to find out where they had gone, and also to confirm that they're not in the backyard.
Walker confirmed the family was new to California City. They moved here in September with 6 children. The other 4 kids have been in protective custody during the investigation.
The kids are missing, and we can't put that together. So until we determine one way or the other what happened to the children, the other 4 children are taken out of the home.
Walker said the parents have been interviewed by authorities on more than one occasion. Their home was searched at least one time prior to Tuesday. Their phones and at least one of their vehicles is still in police custody. Meantime, Walker says officers have knocked on nearly every door in the neighboring area, trying to find more information on when the kids were last seen.
From every neighbor you guys spoke to, not a single sight of them.
No.
When was the most recent that a neighbor cited they'd seen the kids?
We none of the neighbors have seen the kids.
Ever?
No.
And it's important to mention that when authorities were leaving the home today, they were carrying large bags with them. And we were wondering what that was. So we asked the police chief when he exited the home, hey, what was that? He said, look, we're just gathering evidence that was evidence that we collected from the home. It's something that's going to help them with their investigation. He also mentioned that police have not been scavenging through the desert yet. He said in this point in their investigation, that has not led them to going out there and trying to recover a body. But he did say that he appreciates everybody here in the community that he has noticed has spent their days working in the desert, searching with ATVs on their motorbikes in neighborhoods here. He says that it all helps them out. For now, we're live in California City. Bayan Wang, 23 ABC, Canoe.
Okay, and that is Bayan Wang of 23 ABC. Out of California City, California, giving us that report. So I just found some very interesting pieces of information there. How you doing, 9mm? Welcome. That plays a very important part of how strong the California City Police have taken this case on. What they were able to collect in terms of evidence. And so I believe that the evidence that was the additional evidence that was taken from the house along with the vehicle for examination plays a very important part in which says a lot. It says a lot because the evidence that was collected from this particular area came directly from the adoptive parents and nobody else, you see? And so when the adoptive parents have a second search warrant, a second separate search warrant issued against them, it is a strong hand to say that these are 2 persons of interest that the police have their eyes on. And that makes sense. It only made sense only because this was the actual last place the boys were reported to have been seen. It only makes sense. And so from this, I said, well, I've got that in my notes. I wanted to find out a little bit more from Police Chief John Walker from his interview with Bayan Wang, specifically what he could tell us versus what he couldn't tell us. And what he couldn't tell us is critical because it definitely fine-tunes the case as to which way the police is going. Sometimes it's the stuff that you don't hear that makes the difference in certain cases versus the things that you do hear. And that's what gives it an appearance of the 4th kind. I called my case series an appearance of the 4th kind. Things that are not, but yet appear to be. In other words, we're being told one thing, hence, but something else is being found out. That is what is called an appearance of the fourth kind. So let us now just go back for a moment and just take a brief listen to that interview because I found it incredibly informative. Try to go over as much of it as possible. Try to bring it up. And let us just listen carefully to what Chief John Walker had to say, because it tells us a lot as to the reason why this case is in Bakersfield. That I'm just queuing it up. And this was the interview done on January 22nd.
You sitting down with me.
21.
It's about a month now.
It's a month later.
3-year-old Orson and 4-year-old Orrin West have gone missing.
Correct.
What is the morale right now in the community?
The morale in the community, the feeling is, I can feel it every day that it's becoming more and more frustrated, I believe, because they want to find the kids, and I get that. But the morale amongst my department is pretty much the same. You know, we want answers, we want to find the kids, and we're working just as hard as we can to make that happen.
And just to be clear, I understand there's multiple agencies involved. Are all those agencies still involved? Can you name them?
Boss Blake, welcome, brother.
Right now,
Vanessa Jones,
the
welcome.
most participation now is between us, Bakersfield PD, Kern County DA. We still are in with the FBI. So,
all right, so let me just take a second here to re-queue up. The reason why I believed going back over this interview was very, very crucial and important to the case, because listening to Police Chief John Walker, who led the investigation during the months of December into January into February, and then the case was released to the Bakersfield Police Department and its investigation division. I had wanted to go back over. Did he cover all of his bases? Were there mistakes made by the California City Police? And here is the critical information. Here, John Walker tells you exactly what they did and how he was able to tell exactly what they did, which plays a very crucial element in this case moving to Bakersfield. So for those of you who are joining us, thank you very much. I see Boss Blake, content creator in the house. He's also covering the case. Vanessa Jones, lovely Vanessa, welcome. Thank you for coming in to moderate. And now we can hold the fort down. Okay, but let us continue with this critical interview and listen carefully, along with the body language that Police Chief John Walker delivers to this news reporter, Byron Wang.
those are probably the four main ones right now.
And through the course of the last month, you and I have spoken several times, every morning, every night.
At least.
Right. And I always check to see if there's any updates.
Right.
Now that we are a month out and I have the luxury of having you in front of me, I'd like to know. I want to just basically run through a lot of the questions I've asked before in case
Sure.
Anything has changed, and also some new questions that I've drawn up here.
Sure.
So there seems to be a bit of a discrepancy of when the kids were reported missing. So when you guys responded to the parents' home, the adoptive parents' home, Trezell and Jacqueline West, when did they tell you they noticed the kids go missing?
The timeline that we received from them is the kids had been gone 15 to 20 minutes prior to them making the call to us. So,
and hence the timeline once again becomes the critical element of the case, as we spoke about in the investigation model that we began tonight's live with. It plays a critical part because we want to zero in on the exact origin point of origin as to how things occurred and how they began to unfold. And so, looking at the case with laser beam eyes going forward, keep your eyes and mind and ears open for timeline information. It's going to be a critical factor in this case as it's played out. What the police's timeline is in terms of their response, the time that the adoptive parents made the action to call the police, what they did before they called the police plays a critical role. And obviously, we had a content creator, AV Watchman, on his channel give us an idea as to what the adoptive parents were doing the night the boys went missing before they called the police. And thank you, AV Watchman, for capturing that video surveillance footage from the neighbor that lived across from the West's house at the time AV was there in California City doing his investigation. So let us continue, because now John Walker is going to try to give us at least some information as to how the timeline began for them versus the timeline before Trezell and Jacqueline called them.
So they noticed the kid's gone. They searched the house. They searched the immediate area. And I believe Trezell actually got in his car and went searching in his car, came back. When they came to the realization they needed help, they called us.
So you're saying from the moment they noticed that Orson and OrsonWest go missing, they told you that it was within 15 to 20 minutes of that time that they called police?
Per their statement, that's correct.
What time exactly did police get a call for service?
The call got dispatched at 17:43, which would be 5:43 p.m. in the evening.
Okay.
On Monday, the 21st of December.
So you're saying that's when it was dispatched? When did the call come in, just a few minutes prior to dispatch?
Yeah, it only took minutes once the call came in to dispatch the call out, and we were on scene within 6 minutes.
Okay, so that would be...
They were on the scene within 6 minutes. That's pretty fast. And for a small area in which we know that California City exists on the map, that small area, just taking a look at it quickly, which is here. I can bring it back. As you can see, response time to the California City Police in the area that was covered. Now, let's just zoom in a little bit, get a better perspective. But as you can see, we go in to the area, and here's the house right here where the red balloon, I call it red balloon, where the red balloon is 10717 Aspen Avenue. That's the house. And you can see the major artery, Proctor Boulevard, up here that stretches way across the plain and that goes right out toward a desolated area of the desert. And so for police to respond on Aspen Avenue, they had to have come from Proctor Boulevard, thereabout, connect to I think it's Georgetown Street, and then come down this street down toward the house, as we saw in the video surveillance footage. Came off Proctor, came down Georgetown Street, 1 block, made a left turn, connected to Aspen, front of the house. Okay. And so, as you can see, this is almost barren. Not many homes in this area, not any homes in this area at all. So you figure if 2 boys went missing, went lost, a 3- and 4-year-old could not have gotten far at all. at all. And in Chief John Walker's mind, that's what he was talking about. It couldn't have gotten far because we were right there in 6 minutes. Where could they have gone that fast? Let's go back to the interview. Wanted you to get a handle on that.
Police arriving by 5:50-ish.
At least, yeah.
Okay. We spoke in the past about where police start with investigations like this, missing children's. Tell me about the nature of that.
Commonly, particularly with children, you always want to search from the inside out. You know, many times parents panic and believe their kids, ran out the door and ran down the street, which could be. But my training experience, you start from the inside out, always. So that's what occurred. My officers started from the inside. They searched the house. They searched the yards. They searched the shed in the back. And then they started to widen their search out into the neighborhood.
Got it. And from my understanding, it was the very next day that there was a search warrant executed at the home.
Correct.
There needs to be probable cause for a search warrant to be granted by a judge.
Mm-hmm.
What was that probable cause to go in there with a search warrant?
Well, particularly when small kids are involved, we have the right to go in and search. So just for the protection of the kids, to make sure that, there's no foul play or the kids aren't somewhere inside the house.
Okay. What items were collected the first time of the search warrant?
Numerous items were collected that first time through. So I'm not going to disclose exactly what we took, but mostly basic items, mostly electronic items.
What kind of items?
Mostly electronic.
Phones,
computers. Yeah.
Okay.
iPads.
Has that since been returned to the parents?
Some of it.
Okay.
Some of it, to the best of my knowledge. I know for sure they've received their phones back.
Okay. Was their car at one point towed from their home?
Yes. Excuse me. I apologize.
No worries.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. And so Police Chief John Walker talks about them getting their phones back quite fast. Okay. So I wondered then at the time I captured this video, watched the video, I wondered then, well, why didn't they put up and post recent pictures of the boys on posters and flyers? Because Jacqueline West, during the news interview, said that she did have recent pictures on her phone, but the police had obviously confiscated the phones in order to search the phones. Why didn't they put the most recent pictures up for the boys? So I found that very interesting. But let's continue.
Was luminol used on the vehicle?
Yes.
What does luminol detect?
I don't know how to put that in layman's terms.
What is it typically used for, luminol?
Generally blood, to the best of my knowledge.
Was there any sign of that in the van?
Okay, luminol, another key word in the case, was used, to the best of his knowledge. And obviously he had a little bit of a struggle describing what luminol is, but then had to come out and actually say it was for blood tests, for blood examination. And everybody knows what luminol is from crime scene movies and television series, CSI and Criminal Minds and things of that nature. So if luminol was used on the van, I'm wondering if luminol was also used inside the house during the time the second search warrant was issued. In the bathroom, in the sink, in the bathtub, on the floor, on the walls, in and around the door. in the kids' room, in the closet, etc., etc., in order to thoroughly eliminate the house from any foul play. But that's never told to us. But what has been told to us is that luminol was used, and that's a critical piece of information. They did use luminol. Okay, and so whenever you escalate a case to search for blood, and they use luminol to uh, to eliminate an area that's being searched, obviously the FBI, along with crime scene investigators, went in there and tested the house with luminol, tested the house to make sure that, you know, these boys weren't maliciously violated in some way, shape, or form. They wanted to eliminate that idea. And in this case, according to Police Chief John Walker, it has been used. There was no foul play that, according to the best of his knowledge, that was found inside the house or outside in the backyard. And I'm sure that they tested luminol on the patio porch, along with other areas of concern. Most likely the gate that Trezell said that he had left open, along with other areas such as the shed in the back, the tools in the shed that Trezell was using to, I guess, create some kind of sawdust, cutting up wood, things of that nature, aside from throwing wood. And in and around other areas, garbage dispensers, garbage disposal containers, and things of that nature. So, case in point, they covered this particular area very well. And I believe they came to the conclusion that there is no sign of the boys here, not only in the house, not only in the back of the house, but on the sides of the house and in the surrounding area, after canvassing the area about the whereabouts of the boys. And so it leads us to believe, as John Walker did, it leads us to believe that, well, if they're not in the surrounding area and they couldn't have gotten away that fast, 3 and 4 at night, not being able to see a whole lot in the dark, couldn't have gotten away that far from the house. And so, as a point of deduction, if they couldn't have gotten that far in the house, were they in the house at all? According to the video surveillance footage that AV Watchman had provided us on YouTube, and please visit his channel if you haven't seen that video clip. According to the 19th, December 19th, when the family supposedly had went to Bakersfield to drop the kids off for Christmas holiday, only 4 children went. So if only 4 children went, where was Orrin and Orson out of that group? So I'm sure by looking at that video surveillance footage, they also came to the conclusion to say, well, they weren't even with them on the 19th to be in the house, to go missing on the 21st. And so putting those two pieces, those components together, hence I begin to now take a look at why they began to move this case back to Bakersfield. Does everyone follow me? Type a 1 in the room if we're on the same page so we can continue to move on. I don't know a number of people up in here. My goodness. Okay. Thank you, Tracy. DeWalsh, thank you. Because when we're taking a look at this, we have to make some logical common sense factors to put the pieces together to make a congruent story occur. Not the story that Trezell and Jacqueline told us, that's for sure. Okay. And Mary Hardison believes the same thing as I do. You know, the boys were never in Cal City. And that is the conclusion I believe Don Walker had come to after 2 months of diligently searching for these boys in every way, shape, and form, according to their resources, according to the personnel that they used, along with the FBI, uh, CSI investigators, the sheriff's department, and those other folks that were there. So now we move this case back over to Bakersfield, and hence that makes sense. It does make sense, and we even have people, boots on the ground, still in California City, searching the area. Okay, and I've spoken to a couple of YouTubers that are there in and around that area in California City, still out there performing different types of independent searches. So I'll be able to talk about that a little bit down the road. But let's go ahead and the next piece here, and then we'll move on to the next point.
In the initial search of the home, there were scent dogs used, correct?
Correct.
What was the purpose of that?
To locate the children. You know, if they pick up the scent of the kids in the house, once they get the scent of the kids in the house, then they like us start to widen their search. But the dogs never picked up any scent outside the house.
Can you put that in terms of why that is important to know, that there was no scent of the kids outside of the home?
It doesn't necessarily mean anything in particular, but it does lead us to believe that, you know, the kids did not wander outside of the house. But once again, that's not necessarily, 100%. But the dogs didn't detect any scents outside the house.
These dogs are fully trained for this, correct?
Correct.
There was no extreme weather patterns that day that we know of. There wasn't extreme wind like there is now.
No.
Did you guys find that a bit alarming or of interest?
Of course. Of course.
Now, scent dogs are trained to do a particular thing. They're unless they're dual trained, they're trained to do one specific thing, pick a scent, and find where it's gone. Was there any other dogs used in the home?
Yes, we had a cadaver dog come in as well.
And what are cadaver dogs trained to do?
Find dead bodies. So, none found.
They didn't detect anything at all?
No.
Okay. How many?
Okay, so here another tool was used to eliminate another part of what would be considered foul play, and that's using tracking dogs, scent dogs, as well as cadaver dogs. Okay, and these are dogs specially trained to obviously find what they're looking for. And in this case, using both dogs or two independent tools, they neither found anything in the house or anything around the house concerning the boys. Neither did the dog, who's a cadaver dog, find anything dead in the house and in and around the house. And so they were covering their bases with the right tools, utilizing everything in their power to try to find those boys in that particular area. Let's go back to it real quick. And this is the house. This is the backyard. This is the lot to the left, open lot to the right. And I am imagining that this is the area that Police Chief John Walker's talking about when they utilize both scent dogs and the cadaver dogs, especially in the backyard area, only to find that they didn't find anything concerning the boys back there, or near the gate, or in the lot, or the adjacent lot. Let's see if I can. There was a little bit of a better view here. Now, looking at the terrain of these lots, hopefully I did this right. Just come down. We're on Aspen here. Oh, I think we came down too far. No, let me see. I think we may have come down. No, let me see. No. Hold on, let me get my bearings. Okay. Gotta get my bearings. All right, now we could take a look at this huge lot. That's got nothing but tumbleweed, brush, a lot of dirt. All the way down to the next house. It's fairly big. It's a pretty big lot before you get to a street corner. And this is a house on the corner. A ranch style fence. A little bit of a circle drive here. But as you can see, it's a very, very big lot. And for Giselle to come up with the idea of him wanting to go outside, go into this lot, find wood for the fireplace because it was cold, is an extraordinary story to believe. And the lot, once again, open, barren, bordered, and gated. Where could the kids have gone that fast? Oh, give me a second here. Just making an adjustment. This was the house over to the right of it, which caught video surveillance footage with the camera that was pointed in the direction of Trizelle and Jacqueline's house. Where could the kids have gone that fast? Where could they have gone that fast? So taking a look, as we did in our last live, and looking at his track pattern, let me see if I can open that up a little bit. And seeing how wide both side lots are, including the backyard and the street that they would have to have gone down. We know that he came out of the front that evening, got in his car, came out of the driveway, made a left, and then made a right onto the next street and drove down that street, as he told police. and the 6 minutes that he did travel, I came to the conclusion that for him to have gone and come back that quick within about a 6 minute time span, all he basically did was went around the block. Perhaps made a right turn here, went down this block, also in lot here, no sign of the children. Couldn't have gotten that far. Strolled all the way down here, about 3 homes there, 4 homes, till we came to the corner here on Georgetown. Made a right, travel down. Now this is Aspen here. He didn't make a turn there to come back down the block to see if he saw the boys down here, because he didn't come from that direction. He went all the way down here to Proctor Boulevard, the major route that goes right into California City. Came down the block, all the way down here. Made another right. And on video surveillance footage that AV Watchman caught, we actually see his vehicle come from this direction, past the street here, round to the corner, made another right, came back down this street, the house. All in a period of 6 minutes. So once again, timeline is very important to the case. Just go to the comments real quick. Whew, a lot of work. When you put a case together, it's a lot of work. All right. And I just want to know what the adoptive parents used for scent verification. Good question. Question everything. Thank you for joining us this evening. Very good to know that for get comments and questions up here. I'm going to see if I can scroll up a little bit. I know I've missed a lot. You know, when I get rolling, I just keep rolling because I try to cover as much information as possible. But knowing that the California City Police Department utilized every tool that they could to eliminate this particular area, and this particular crime scene, I think they did due diligence in covering all the bases that they needed to in order for them to determine whether the boys were even here or not. And that was my conclusion as well. Whether the boys were even at the house or not. Cadaver dogs being used, FBI bringing out technology, covering both lots, the grounds and everything, and nothing. Police responding within 6 minutes of the call may have been a little bit longer, but let's keep it within the timeline of his report. And still nothing to be found within a 6-minute time span. Trezell taking 6 minutes to go around the block, come back, and then call the police 15 to 20 minutes later. So writing all of this timeline stuff down, you begin to crystallize why they came to the conclusion that perhaps the boys weren't even here, because they didn't find them there. When did they get here? Well, they moved to California City in September. Where did they come from? Oh, well, they came from Bakersfield. Well, maybe something happened in Bakersfield. And so hence, the story now moves to Bakersfield. Just give me a second. Let me cue this up. And I thank y'all for hanging out with me to cover the information that we're covering here tonight. And on March the 1st, the case then moved to Bakersfield, and we get our first report from the news, as well as the Bakersfield police detective covering the
Today
case.
marks 72 days since 3-year-old Orson and 4-year-old Orrin West were reported missing from California City. Just this week, BPD announced they will be taking over the investigation from the Cal City Police Department. Joining us this morning, Bakersfield Police Chief Greg Terry, to tell us a little bit more about this case so far. Thanks so much for being with us this morning. We appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Good morning.
We know your department has been involved in this case and investigation since pretty early on. What's been the role so far, and how is it changing now?
Well, we have been involved in the investigation since day one, but just based on the facts and the circumstances now known to investigators, the circumstances surrounding the disappearance of the boys and the direct nexus to Bakersfield, it just made sense where we are in the investigation after discussing with our other partners for us to take a lead role. And really what that means is we will continue the investigation, but we'll also be responsible directly for the investigative strategies, obtaining information or resource allocation, and just really working hard, continuing to work very hard to find out what happened to these little boys.
We know that the boys used to live in Bakersfield. Does the department believe that they were missing long before it was reported in December?
We're investigating all facts and circumstances, and so investigating all possibilities as well. And we will continue to gather facts and circumstances until we know. But like I said, based on what we know now, the historical connection to Bakersfield, it just made sense for us to take the lead role, and that's what we're doing.
Can you talk a little bit more about the historical connection to Bakersfield?
Well, this is where they're from, where the family is from, and that's what I mean by that is the residence or where they were in Cal City was just for a very short period of time.
And does your department have any suspects yet in this case?
No, we're investigating all possibilities, and everyone is being looked at for obviously individuals, the family members, the neighbors, the sex offenders. We're exploring all possibilities, and we will continue to do that until we find out what happened to these little boys.
The California City Police Department has said multiple times that the adoptive family, that reported the boys missing back in December from California City, has been cooperative with officers. Are they still cooperative with your officers and with this investigation?
Yeah, we've had numerous contacts with family members, immediate family members, extended family members, and everyone is still continuing to speak to us.
I know there are other children in this case with those parents. Have those children been a part of this investigation at all? Have they been spoken to or interviewed?
Like I said, we're interviewing everyone associated with it, and certainly that includes immediate family members.
We know that investigations take time and that the ultimate goal obviously is not keeping the public in the know necessarily, but finding the boys and solving this case. But there are still so many people holding these search parties, holding vigils. Today, there's going to be a panel discussion on the investigation so far. Do you have a message for the community about this case and everyone clamoring to know what happened to these little boys?
Well, as law enforcement officers, we are community members and we're parents also. And we understand the public's interest in this particular case, and rightfully so, to find out what happened to these little boys. But I assure you that we are going to continue the investigation in a professional and thorough manner and follow all investigative leads and possibilities. We will continue to communicate with our community, especially if there are circumstances or information that could impact our community safety, or individuals in our community will be very quick to share that information. But we're not going to release any information, regardless of how compelling it might be to the public interest. If it could jeopardize the outcome of this investigation, we just simply won't do it.
Are there still people out there you need to talk to? Are there still people you think who know something that could help in your investigation?
I think so. One of the things that we asked about earlier this week is we want to go back even further, not just into the immediate days or weeks surrounding the disappearance of these young boys. We asked for information for anyone who's had contact with them in the last year so that we can continue to investigate all possibilities and all facts and circumstances around what happened to these little boys.
So if anyone knows anything, is the secret witness line still the best number to call, along with your police department?
If you want to remain anonymous, absolutely. If you want to have direct contact with our investigators, you can call 327-7111 and you will get connected to the investigators in the case.
All right, Chief Terry, thanks so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. And so we have the case now in Bakersfield. Let me just queue up the next item here real quick. Just give me a second. Let's skip all the stuff that goes on YouTube. Okay. Okay. So the case now moves to Bakersfield. California City Police felt that for the 60 days that they had the case and still came up with nothing, it was righteously indicated that the case should expand. And so from California City, the case is now expanded back to a point of origin in which the family came from to begin with. And it makes sense for the case to come back to Bakersfield. So, so far, so good. We are tracking the trackers tonight. And in order for you to track the trackers, well, the news media has definitely been on this case tight enough for us to find out what the police have been doing, how they've been reporting, and what the information they were able to at least provide us with in order to keep us informed as to the relevant points and the search involvement of their efforts in finding the boys. Okay, but a couple of people were making some comments in here. Welcome, Fire Mama 411. I saw you come in here. Cynthia Sin. Anything new on the Kanika Jenkins case? Well, you'll find out when I go live. Adele Fitz. Okay, welcome. I see you all having a good chat up in here. Charlene Harvey, welcome. Yeah, most people had commented, why did Trezell get in his van so quickly? Why didn't they go on foot? Where was the flashlight? Where was Jacqueline? Why didn't they roam up and down Aspen Avenue on foot? They take chalk with them. Where was the dog? Because if anything, Chalk being, I believe, a German Shepherd, would have been able to follow the scent of the boys if they got lost in the neighborhood. But none of that occurred. We saw Trezell get in his van and go around the corner and do what he did, come back in 6 minutes, and then summon police. So a lot of his activity did not make sense as to the reasons why he called the police to tell them that his boys were missing. As Denzel Washington said in the movie, it's the little things. It is. It is the little things that'll get you caught. And a lot of the little things in this case is what's being built on as circumstantial evidence to this point is what's going to get them caught. Because when you do things on a foul side, and in some manipulating way, and as well planned out as it could possibly be to get away with, it's the little things that make a difference. And it's the little things that'll get you caught. You see? Thank you, Amanda. It was a pit bull. And pit bulls are good dogs too. And they're used to the boys. When animals are in the home and you have children, animals are used to the whole scent of the house. So if anything goes wrong, animals will find you real quick. Okay, dogs will find you real quick, especially if you have the right dog, whether it's a shepherd, pit bull, I think it's a Rottweiler, a bloodhound. I mean, a good tracking dog will find out where you are. but that was never used by Trezell or Jacqueline during the times the boys went missing. A lot of people made comment on that, and it brings a very solid point to the case. Why didn't they use the dog? Why didn't they go on foot? Why was everything in such a hurry? And then they call the police. So it's the little things that'll get you caught. I want to move on to Bakersfield. Just recently did a search of Cottonville and Pacheco Road. I want to get to that because this is where YouTubers by LV. Let me just cue this up real quick. Okay. LV United We Stand is a part of the search group that was out there. During that time, the police were out there. 50 officials were out there searching Cottonville and Pacheco Road. Now, this area that they searched was just desolated. It's a desert, an open area. And I said, oh my God. I said, don't tell me that they got a tip or there was a lead that involved searching a desolate area. Are they getting ready? Is this still a rescue operation or is this a recovery operation? What it appeared to me when this came about, it looked to me as if this was a recovery operation rather than a rescue operation. And so let's take a look and find out a little bit more as to the appearance of this operation as it unfolded. And I'm very thankful for the news covering this, as well as the YouTubers that were out there on the ground, boots on the ground, there to assist in every way, shape, or form to find those boys.
A search was held on Saturday for the two missing Cal City boys near the intersection of Cottonwood Road and East Pacheco Road. Now, law enforcement and volunteers say they aren't giving up until they're found.
They've been out here searching, but they actually had dogs out here, and they had a large amount of searchers out. So,
either way, the woman who's on the screen right now is one of the YouTubers. I believe they call her Roro for short. Much love goes out to Roro, LV, AV, Watchman, and all those that were out there. I believe Crenshaw Incorporated was out there during the time of this search. And so we've got people on the ground that are very close on this case, as we all are. So let's get back into it and find out what we can find out.
And we don't have that. I mean, they're skilled at what they do, and now it's time for us to kind of sit back and let them do their job.
You might recognize Rosanna Wills, who's the biological cousin to the missing Cal City toddler brothers, 3-year-old Orson West and 4-year-old Orrin West, who, according to the boys' adoptive parents, went missing back in December in 2020 while playing in their backyard. And thousands of people since then, like Laura Vasquez, a volunteer, is calling for them to come home.
A lot of people don't want to come forward, being that there's been a lot of threats from.
And this is Laura Vasquez, excuse me, who I had the privilege of speaking with earlier this afternoon, in reference to the case on her channel, to find out a little bit more about this search that went on during the time that the Bakersfield Police Department was out there at Cottonville and Pacheco Road. So much love goes out to LV and the team that she was with that covered this information, covered this particular area way back in January. In fact, I believe it may have been the mid part of January. they were out here in this field and they covered a search team, got together and covered this field. So for now, Bakersfield police to have gone back out there a second time to go over this field, yeah, will definitely startle you to say, why did they go back out there a second time? And so this is LV, Laura Vasquez. So let it resume.
People all over the world. There's been more people that want to help, and like Rose said, passing out flyers and helping with banners and different stuff like that. I myself was a little scared to come into the case, but there's 2 missing boys out there who need anybody they can that's going to speak for them.
On Saturday, 50 personnel from the FBI, the Bakersfield Police Department, and Kern County Search and Rescue participated in the search, according to BPD. Officials spent several hours in the area and wrapped up shortly after 12 p.m. And Sergeant Robert Pear of the Bakersfield Police Department says the boys were not found during the search.
As far as if any items of evidentiary value were located, I can't get into specifics. I can definitively say that the boys were not located. I think our reaction would be a lot different if that occurred. We have 2 missing boys that are from the Bakersfield community. And unfortunately, law enforcement can't talk about the specific details of what we may or may not know.
Volunteers over the past few months have been searching various areas of Cottonwood Road, looking for anything leading to the boys' whereabouts. And BPD would not confirm if their search on Saturday was a result of a tip or an investigative lead.
This is not the first search that has been conducted in the city of Bakersfield by the Bakersfield Police Department during our participation in this investigation. I expect that there will be more searches depending on the facts and the path of the investigation.
Saturday's search comes several days after the Bakersfield Police Department took over as the lead investigators in the case. Wills tells 23 ABC this change makes her believe they are now one step closer to finding the West boys.
Give the information of what we have to the officers and let them do their job, because there's no better way of closing this case than leaving it in the hands of the Bakersfield Police Department.
And again, as of Saturday, according to the Bakersfield Police Department, no arrests have been made. But if you have any information regarding this investigation, please contact BPD at 661-327-7111. Bakersfield, Leslie Gooden, 23 ABC News, connecting you.
Okay. And so this brings us at least closer in terms of a timeline. And thank you. Make sure that queued out. I don't want that one playing. Okay. So you said that. Question everything. Not a YouTuber. Roro, not a YouTuber. She's related. Bio family spokesperson and activist. Thank you. Question everything. For that information I didn't have. I was under the impression that she was a YouTuber, but thank you, for bringing us up to date on that. Very critical. You see how we work together? That's the only way we're going to get some kind of resolution on this case, hopefully to bring it to a positive closure, is to work together. And with a team such as LV, United We Stand, AB Watchmen, and all of the people that are participating on the ground search in these areas and at these particular locations, we are going to get to some positive closure, I believe. Because the information, even though it's trickling in, it's still coming in, keeping the case alive, all to bring awareness to this case. My job in this is to continue bringing awareness. The more awareness we have, it definitely will give strength to keeping this case alive, keeping it focused, and keeping it ongoing. Now, I'm sure that the Bakersfield Police stand strong in their commitment to continue searching for these boys up until we get to a closing point, as well as California City, as well as the FBI, the DA, the Sheriff's Office, etc., along with us. Because we're here. We're doing what we're doing because this is important. And all of the YouTubers that I mentioned earlier in the live. So if you see certain YouTubers bringing awareness to the West case, it's that word is getting out, because we see that mainstream media is not covering this case like they should, and they have the platform to do it. They have the platform to do it. CNN, CBS, ABC, NBC, MSNBC, and so forth. And yet, it's the smaller platforms, the local platforms, such as 23 ABC, KGET News, and people on Facebook, people on YouTube. We're the ones driving this story to stay alive. And so, much love goes out to all of those that are participating in driving this story. Keep it alive. Okay. So we had a search out there, and to our surprise, nothing availed from it. Thank God. They didn't find the remains or of anyone out there during that time of search, and I was hoping that they didn't find anything during that search, because it was only telling me that this was more of a recovery search than a rescue. Okay. All right. Let's keep it going, because there was another search warrant that was recently served on the grandparents' home that we had found out about. And this is where Trezell West's mom and dad live. So I'm trying to bring you up to speed on that. So let's see what was spoken about there. Cue it up here. And we'll get it going.
Boys went missing. The Bakersfield Police Department are now in charge of the investigation. Just last weekend, another part of Bakersfield was searched by BPD, and tonight we are learning new developments from the scene of one of the adoptive parents' family members' home. 23BC's Leslie Gooden is live in East Bakersfield and has been following these developments and has more after speaking with a neighbor in the area. Good evening, Leslie.
That's right, Alex. We have been out here all evening. I'm here off of Potomac Avenue in East Bakersfield, and I'm in the neighborhood of the adoptive grandparents' area. Now, again, I have to tell you, just to remind you of this area, just a few weeks ago, a prayer was held here for Orson and Orrin West just a few weeks ago by the biological family as well. And we were just 10 minutes away where the Bakersfield Police Department conducted a very massive search near the Casa Loma apartments near Cottonwood Road and East Pacheco Road just last weekend. And like, as you mentioned, they have taken over this investigation. And according to neighbors, they tell me that they saw the Bakersfield Police Department out here earlier today as well. We have yet to been able to confirm if they were indeed conducting a search, but take a listen to what this one neighbor told me about how she felt about seeing the Bakersfield Police Department on the scene.
Oh, that makes me feel good, because I know if I have grandkids, I have a 3 and 4 year old. Well, I have 4 grandchildren, 8-year-old twins, and then I have a 3 and a 4 year old. So the 3 and 4 year old is the same age as they are, and I can just imagine if they would, I'd be looking too, and I can't say that I wouldn't want to do everything that they're doing. I can't say that I wouldn't want to jump the fence and do a search myself, because you never know what you're going to feel when you're in that position. Something's brewing. I feel that something's brewing, and it's going to blow up on them, so hopefully they'll find them, and hopefully they're okay.
And again, we heard from several neighbors and several sources who shared with us that, in fact, they did see the Bakersfield Police Department out here, and they also believe they were detectives. And again, we are still waiting for that confirmation. So be sure to tune in here and be sure to go to our website, turn23.com. We will have all that information. Back to you, Alex.
Okay. All right, so we know that search warrants went out. And hi, Rebecca. Jennifer Rebecca, truth be told, is in the house. Thank you for joining us. And so what tonight's video live, the purpose of it is to bring you up to speed, as I'm sure everyone is already up to speed. As I said, sometimes we have to step back just a little bit in order to go forward. And so that's tonight, that's what I wanted to do, and to let you see how the media has been doing their job covering this case and giving us whatever vital information we need to get in order to understand the process, the investigation process, as well as the ongoing efforts are unfolding. So let me go to the chat room just before I kick in on a couple of other points. Okay, America's Most Wanted featured this on the segment last Monday. Thank you, Question Everything. I appreciate that. Hey, you got America's Most Wanted on this as well. Fox Channel, Season 1, Episode 1. Start watching 9:44 p.m., 9:54 p.m., 9:56 airs the short segment. Okay. Thank you, Question Everything. That is vital information. See, you got folks in the chat giving you up-to-date information as we speak on tonight's live. And it's beautiful to see that people are, like I said, coming together and bringing awareness. That's the whole point of tonight's live. Continue to give you an update as to the progression of what we were told happened on December 21st, all the way up till today. And so that's what I wanted to cover with you tonight. So here, the result of that search warrant that was served on the grandparents, the adoptive grandparents, came through, and here's what they had to say. And so this is vital to the case as well. Let me get this queued up.
For our 17 News follow-up file now, an update on the case of the two missing boys reported missing in California City, Orrin and OrsonWest. Bakersfield police confirming yesterday a search warrant was served Friday at a home of the boys' adoptive grandparents and providing a short statement to the public on what they called unfounded speculation over the warrant. That statement reads, BPD said, quote, search warrants are a normal investigative tool and a standard investigative legal measure to protect the rights of persons. And they warned against community speculation. Orrin and OrsonWest were reported missing 85 days ago from their adoptive parents' home in California City. While the boys were reported missing from California City, they have many ties to Bakersfield and used to live there, which is why BPD has taken on that case. The department has not announced charges against anyone in the case, and we don't know if they found any evidence. If you know anything, you're urged to call BPD, or you can call the secret witness line at 661-322-4040.
Okay. And so that tells us just a little bit about the search warrant that was issued. Nothing more than just to let us know that it was issued, and that I guess social media and folks like myself should be very careful as to what we present and how we speak about the case, so that this way it doesn't create any kind of unwarranted speculation that would confuse or interfere with the investigation. So carefully, I decided to well, let's go over some news clips to bring us up to date. How they're tracking it, because we have to track the trackers now. Since information is only being dripped out, as little of it as it has been, we can only go by what some of the news media that's covering the case has been able to put out. along with those that are actually boots on the ground following the case, because their input towards the, let's just say, the open spots of where we're not getting information can be filled in with at least factual information from their point of view. It will only make sense, and I just thank goodness that we do have boots on the ground in the physical form at these locations, covering this information. So, okay, Vanessa, you timing out question everything? Uh-oh. Let me see what's going on here. All right, y'all, don't get fussy. All right. Okay. Vanessa, hold up on any kind of blocking for question everything. All right, do me that favor until I'm able to actually review the actual comments. I don't think any of her comments have been negative at all. She's been very informative as to what we've been covering so far. So Mary Hardison says, John Q, you should join a Facebook group, LV United We Stand, or anyone else in the chat. We discuss the case. I appreciate that, Mary Hardison. I am in touch with LV United We Stand. As I said, I was on her channel just this afternoon, and well, I mean, if you want to know what was said, I can bring it up and let you hear what was said. Thank you, Vanessa. I know it was a mistake. Question everything is good. I mean, everybody's been good, and we're getting through this. So, like I said, everybody's points of views and comments are important. I do review the information after every live because it goes into my notes. But LV United We Stand was on this afternoon. I was able to join her briefly just to connect with her, to let her know that out of New York, we're here working on our side to bring awareness to the case, and gave her props on all of the hard work that her and her team has given. Miraculously given out of their time, out of their family life, to really pursue the truth about this case. I'll let you hear a little bit of what we were able to talk about this afternoon. I wanted to share that with you because it was important for me to make contact with her. So I will share that. LV United We Stand, how are you?
All right, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good. John Q out of New York. Been bringing awareness to this case on the East Coast while you guys are out there on the West Coast. And much love to you and your family and all of the people that have been participating since day one. You guys have been doing an extraordinary amount of work, and I have to give you a major shout out to everything that you guys have done to keep awareness strong and up to date. So I wanted to just jump on here and kind of like, give you a little bit of, I guess, an idea as to, what my investigation, my background is not in law enforcement or legal or medicine or anything. I'm a parent, I'm a father, I'm a grandfather. I do have grandchildren, and I understand what it is to be concerned about, when kids go missing, especially a 3 and 4 year old. And wanted to share with you, I guess, my feelings and some of my thoughts with you because of the amount of work that you and your team out there, right on the ground, boots on the ground, have been putting out on a day-to-day, week-to-week, and now month-to-month basis. So big shout out to you.
Hey, thank you, sir. God bless you. Thank you for getting the word out over there on the East Coast. That's amazing news. It needs to get that far and even further if we can. So I appreciate you following the boys' story. I appreciate you being interested. I appreciate your opinions and everything you have to offer to this life. Like I said, God bless your heart. God bless your family, your children. Let's just keep our head up and keep this story going.
Absolutely. And I've done work on the Kanika Jenkins case for the last 2 years, and that's been on my table. I've also just started doing work on another case which was brought to my attention, as well as this one. And I'm just looking at some of the finer points based on statements, based on evidence collected, any forensics that are out there that we can at least incorporate into the case, as well as potential suspects or people of interest. So in looking at this, a lot of things are wrong from day one. The extraordinary work that another YouTuber, and I'll be very careful not to mention, as you said before, had done with the video surveillance footage. I'm sure you're aware of who I am talking about. And looking at that and then comparing statements and then news press conferences that were done gives us a lot of information on social media to really carefully take a look at and glean, and not to come to any quick conclusions. Because once we do that, then we mess a case up entirely, and everything gets lost in the shuffle. You know, it happened with the Kanika Jenkins case. It happened in a number of cases, you know, and that's what we're trying to be very careful about with this case, not to go scatterbrain with it, not to draw conclusions too quickly, but to allow the evidence to come out. The work is being done, it's continuing to be done, and folks like yourself, myself, and other channel holders that are covering the case, the evidence and the truth will come out. I know that, and I believe that. I'm just waiting for them to do a search from California City to Bakersfield and let them cover the 67 miles on that highway stretch that goes from one point to the other, and notify the citizens between both points to say, hey, look, everybody along this highway line, get out in your yards and do a little looking, do a little searching. If you find something that's unusual, abnormal, call it in, you know, but I'm just waiting to hear that, you know, be put out there, because it's a collective effort. You know, the police can do only but so much, but we as a community can at least assist and help, you know, as we're trying to do now. That's what I'm waiting for.
Right, and you're right, and I feel like that probably should have been the first step after the first month went by. You know what I mean? But like I said, there's a lot of people that have families. There's people going through things before this case even came up, so a lot of people did put certain things to the side to get out here and keep their boots on the ground and stuff like that. And I'm sure if the boys are watching this, they're going to appreciate it from the bottom of their little hearts. You know what I mean? And
absolutely,
like I said, my wife and I identify ourselves as a collective, which means we're not owned by anybody. We don't pretty much own anything on this case. We're just willing to take in anyone that's willing to come out and help, no matter where it is that we have to search. Like you said, down the highway, little farms that are sitting off to the side of the road, stuff like that.
Right.
I think it's the secluded areas that the people want to be left alone and not bothered. And I feel like if they don't come out, we won't bother them type situation.
Right. But, you know, here on the East Coast, not only New York, I know that there are a couple of channel holders on the East Coast here. Philadelphia is also involved with a channel holder that's been posting on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. I was just on her channel just yesterday. And I guess, you know, part of the work that I want to do is to connect with channel holders like yourself and a number of other YouTubers on here to continue doing the work that they're doing and make other channel holders aware. And we can put more channel holders on YouTube covering the case so that this way that awareness is strengthened not only from the West Coast and the East Coast, it begins to cascade over the entire United States. And that's where we want to get it and keep it up until we get the information that says somebody's going to go to jail for this. And they need to.
Right.
They need to.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Do you,
So,
by any chance, do you have a YouTube channel?
I'm sorry, what's that?
I said, by any chance, do you have a YouTube channel?
Yes, I do. It's under my name, John Q. And all of my work on the Kanika Jenkins case is on there. The work that I'm starting on this case is on there. The work I'm getting ready to start on the Kiera Coles case will be on there, and a number of other cases that I'm looking at. But I like to take one case at a time because it involves a lot of time, a lot of work, a lot of study, and a lot of insight to really begin to put out the right content, which is based on facts and not speculation.
Correct.
Yeah, but I think you guys are doing a fantastic work. When I first came across your channel, I said, my God, look at that. They're out there searching here. They're in, you got the press's attention, which is good. They're following the police, which is good because they get press coverage and any kind of continued coverage, press coverage, social media coverage that you guys can continue to get will strengthen the attention and focus to stay on this case. I wouldn't be surprised in a short period of time that it doesn't get plastered on major news media as it should. CNN, ABC, CBS, WOR, all of the radio stations that are on there talking about this case, because the more that happens, the more awareness it'll bring to this case, and maybe the quicker closure, maybe a quicker closure. But I believe that the Bakersfield Police Department is diligently working on this. They do have the resources to deal with this matter. I believe California Police is also a peripheral agency still working on the case. And it wasn't really for them, really, jumping on this the way they did. Who knows? It might not have went back to Bakersfield. It might have went cold right from there.
Yeah, you're right. You were so right. And I thank God every day that it did come back to Bakersfield. And I think nobody would want it any other way.
Right. Well, Trezell and Jacqueline's story didn't work. It didn't wash clean, and that's what left a lot of holes in California Police's investigation. If you have no trace of the boys in the backyard or in the house, and you've got scent dogs and cadaver dogs and all resources from the FBI that were used to eliminate that location completely, then where else would you look? And so you have to go back 3 months. Oh, they came from Bakersfield. Oh, well, let's begin to move back toward Bakersfield and find out if the boys ever showed up in California City. You see, and in my view, from what I've gathered so far, I don't believe they made it to California City. No one has ever seen the boys, all 6 children together. The night or the afternoon of December 19th, only 4 children got in the van to go to Bakersfield for the Christmas holiday visit. And so that tells me that they didn't have the kids, or the kids weren't with them as of the 19th. So now I'm beginning to work backwards from there.
Right.
So
you're right. And
but I do want to ask you, Nikki, is it your name is Nikki?
My name?
Yes.
No, I'm Laura. I'm LV.
Laura, okay. Laura, out of your I guess, experience being in the field when you and your team went out to Cottonville and Pacheco Road that day that the 50 law enforcement people were out there searching? Did you gather anything from that search experience? Was it a lead? Was it a tip? Yeah, and in order to enable Bakersfield police to actually search that area?
To be honest with you, I want to say they acted on a tip. The thing about it is that since this case has started, there's been more false tips than anything that's really actually true, if that makes sense.
Right.
That area was previously covered before by my wife and herself, our little group, and a few other groups have covered that area also.
Right, that was back in January.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, I want to say that it was another false tip.
Okay. And so how long did they say they were out there before they concluded their search?
They were out there for several hours. I want to say they were out there from somewhere between 8:30 to 8:45 to about noontime.
About noon, okay. Okay. Yeah, because I was just wondering why they went back out there to research that area, to even give the idea that going out there, they were not really looking to actually rescue anyone. It looked more like a recovery type of search. Yeah. Yeah, which only kind of leads us to believe that this is not a rescue type of operation anymore. They're looking to recover. And so I said, right at the computer when you guys were out there, I said, I hope they don't find a thing. I hope that they don't find a thing out there,
Right.
And more than likely they didn't, and that's good because it at least allows us to believe that the boys are still alive. They just need to be located. I believe somebody's got them still. That's just my belief because there's been no evidence of anything otherwise. And when this thing gets resolved and the truth does come out, it's going to satisfy us all to know that coming together as a team and working diligently and intelligently and with faith, hope, and love, we can accomplish anything together as a team. When we argue and when we bash and when we go against each other, nothing gets accomplished. Nothing.
Nothing at all. And it's a proven fact.
Absolutely. But yeah, that was one of the questions that was on my mind. I wanted to just jump up here real quick and ask you. And thank you for, allowing me to connect with you, especially on this critical matter. It's going on 4 months. Hopefully, some new information will come out on the case, which will lead us more closer to getting to the boys. Someone does call in or gives the police a lead or a tip to say, hey, the boys are over here. They're alive. Come pick them up. That's what I'm waiting for.
We're all waiting for it. All waiting for it. Can't wait.
Yeah. Yeah. So that this way, they know that, the rest of us can more or less get some sleep, get some rest.
Yeah. You're right.
Because this definitely does cut into sleep. It cuts into eating. It cuts into family time. Those that have children, that have to continue to take care of the family as well as deal with the stressful emotions behind this case.
Right.
But major shout out to you and your family. Much love, and dedication, and Godspeed with all strength to you and yours because of all of the work that you've done. I'm going to do my part here in New York. I'm going to continue to spread awareness, make sure that everyone stays connected with the right channels, because of the right information, rather than go out there and dig on a scavenger hunt, to mess things up,
Right. Well, amen to you. God bless you. Feel free to jump on this thing anytime, any day.
Well, thank
feel
you.
free to contact me whenever. If there's
Well,
any information.
if you need to get a hold of me, it's my email is John Q, my name, 001@gmail.com. And if there's anything that I can do to assist, you let me know. I'm just, coming on board and trying to get awareness on YouTube as best as I can, and make sure that the responsible channel holders carry the information with facts and not speculation and everything. So this way we can at least keep awareness on social media here on YouTube nice and tight. This way, if any newcomers come on board, they know exactly where the resources are, the people that are in control of the right information.
Perfect. Thank you, John. Appreciate you so much.
Okay, Laura, good talking with you, and God bless you and your family once again, and stay well and be blessed with God's speed.
Likewise, sir.
Okay. And there you heard directly from Laura herself in regards to the conversation that I had with her earlier this afternoon. And we had a good chat, and just to let her know that I'm on board, and if there's any support that we can give them, boots on the ground, being able to reach out is one of the most important elements that we have at our disposal. Okay, so let me go to the chat real quick. And once again, much love to LV for allowing us to connect with her and her team this afternoon. Let's see what y'all talking about before we begin to wrap things up a little bit. Okay. Question everything. Are you still in the room? I hope you're still here. Just type a 1 if you are. And hopefully the minor discrepancy of the timeout, the earlier timeout, would be forgiven. Because like I said, your comments are very important. So if question everything is still in the room, just type a 1, dear, and just let me know you're still with us. So anyway, that is what I wanted to bring you up to speed on in tonight's live. Cover the areas and elements of and some of the area and evidence that or material and information that I'm covering does lie within the scope of a crime, as we began earlier. Just give me a moment here. And the chat stopped moving. I hope I didn't put y'all asleep. Type a 1 if we're still connected. How's that? Everybody type a 1 if we're still connected. Just so I know that the chat is still alive. I see a lot of smiley faces in here. I hope I didn't make y'all laugh. All right. So in covering this, any questions, any statements, now that I'm able to read the chat a little bit, I'm just going to take some time out to give some time to y'all. Then we can begin to focus on a wrap up and a follow up. Who we got here? Okay. Amazing 80, you got smiley faces all over the place. Help me out. Okay. Thank you, Vanessa Jones, for moderating tonight. So you pop in here and join the chat. Okay. So we've got Fire Mama. I wonder if there were ever any rental cars or trailers used and searched during the move. That's a good point. And I thought Trezell was partners in an ice cream business. Has that van/business been checked? Good question. Good question. And I'm hoping that, yeah, those things were checked by California City Police, as well as the Bakersfield Police. And I'm sure that they are scrutinizing their search efforts to cover all business assets as well as any other places that the boys could have been. So, okay, Tracy Keene says, John, I am an admin for LV United We Stand on Facebook and YouTube. I wanted to tell you thank you for joining us today. Well, Tracy, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, like I said, it's important for us to come together to pool our resources and focus on what matters the most. And if you get serious YouTubers that are, can get involved in this case and look at it objectively without exaggeration or without any personal ego, then we can all contribute and contribute in a way that can help us to crystallize, zero point in on the truth of the matter rather than the falsehood or the hearsay or the third party, fourth party, fifth party, sixth party type information. And that's why I try to cover what I can on my channel to say, if anyone's looking at this case, let me present at least some information that you can walk away with and say, hey, I picked up something from this channel. Now, out of the, 2 hours that we've been on here, hopefully you've picked up just something helpful. Just as I did in the Kanika Jenkins case, and as I'm going to do with Kiera Cole's case, just to pick up something helpful, something different, take away from, to keep you focused on the next piece of information that, whether it's a YouTuber or someone on Facebook or Instagram or the news comes up, just to keep you focused on the elements of, this is an investigation. How does it fill in the investigation model? Is it information on the timeline? Is it information on the victims? Is it information on the witness statements? Is it information on the physical evidence? Is it information on the suspects or persons of interest? One of these circles, or some together, will begin crystallizing and start to go off. Well, we found something over here, found something over here, found something over here. And then you can begin to crystallize it to say, does it fit a crime? And if it does, it goes into the center circle, knowing it's a crime. So now we can look at, okay, somebody better go to jail for this. And then that keeps us focused on the police activity. Make sense? Hope it does, because looking at it from this point of view, yep, let me get that back. Looking at it from the model, and I'm sorry that this didn't come out too clear, but it's sort of like a roadmap that gives you an idea of the distance between Bakersfield and California City, which is not too far away, which is right here. And this covers the 67 miles stretch in terms of time, because we're focused on the timeline aspect as a point of time of travel. And this is also the route I brought up to LV in reference to what if everybody came out of their homes and just did a little bit of scouting all the way down this timeline, or excuse me, all the way around this route, just to see if there was anything abnormal on their property, on the properties across the street, or in an isolated area such as a desolated lot or an open field, or just something just to keep in mind. Hey, I live around here. I live along this route that goes to California City and Bakersfield. Let me see if, there's anything unusual outside. And it's just basic awareness to help us out. Knowing that California City has been covered, I would say, to a point to where I'm satisfied to say that I'm glad the case has moved. Bakersfield, with the resources available to now escalate the investigation. I mean, escalated to a point to where more people are involved, more resources are involved, more equipment is involved, better leads come out, better tips come out of this whole thing. Now that the house in California City has been covered to a point to where they're satisfied that keeping an eye on it and monitoring it, absolutely. But now to say that they're satisfied enough to begin moving or expanding the circle, as Chief John Walker talked about earlier in his news interview, expand the area. Let's expand the timeline to say if there's any person that has come in contact with the boys in the last 12 months, contact us. And so you can see that the police are widening the scope of their investigation. Because these two have a lot of answers to give. And it's all going to culminate and point back at these two right here. And with Jacqueline and Trezell having two biological kids that are no longer with them because of this whole thing, it's going to cause quite an emotional imbalance, if you will. The one of the two. I believe it'll be Jacqueline. Only because a mother's love is so close to the heart of everything that for her to have given up her own biological kids for the foster children that they were caring for could put a tremendous amount of pressure on her to know that she is now in a position to lose those children over this whole entire matter. So she does, or they do, have a big loss ahead of them if they don't come clean. Tell us the truth, because that's all they need to do. To look the jigs up, I want to recant my statement and tell you what really happened. And the reason for it to happen. And whether it be monetary, whether it be anything along those lines, beyond the scope of what they told us, tell us where the boys are. That's the easiest thing they can do. Tell us where they are, tell us who's got them, and tell them to release those boys. They don't need to show themselves or anything. All they need to do is just put them in an area where the boys can be found easily, and let the police pick them up. And if they decide to disappear and, you know, go to North Pole or South America and all this other stuff to hide from their sins, well, let them do so. But time will tell. But these are the two that have the most to lose. As you've already seen the loss unfold in their life, they no longer live on Aspen Avenue. They no longer can afford to live on Aspen Avenue. The income that they did get in California City has been shut off. So the house idea is now out the window. Having their children as they used to do, or as they used to have, is no longer there. They can't live right, if you will. Walk down the street, go to the store, or anything else without people recognizing or noticing who they are. You can imagine that. Or being able to talk on a cell phone without it being tracked or a GPS'd. So they have a lot of pressure involved in their life, all because of one moment in time. They made a decision together to do something. And they made that decision together and brought it to the public. The kids went missing, but they can't tell us where they are or why they went missing. So yes, they do have a price to pay, and it's going to be a huge one. The longer this case takes to get resolved, the heavier the consequences. The longer this case takes to get resolved, the heavier the consequences. These folks right here, the biological family, is a part of that. They also suffer from loss too. Ryan Dean has suffered a loss. The first foster care mother has suffered a loss. The biological fathers, with the boys missing, they are suffering a loss. And so, yes, this starts to take form and take shape in a way that is only going to continue to increase the longer the case goes on. That's why getting to the end of it, getting to the bottom of it is so important. And if any one of these individuals here in this photo knows where those boys are, give the Bakersfield police a call. You don't have to identify yourself. If you know something, tell them where the boys are. Let's get this done and over with and get those boys back. Get those boys back. Them being so young, being 3 and 4, and their life ahead of them, have so much to climb out of because of this. So much that they went through and are going through. I was given this updated poster flyer from LV this afternoon and her team. I've put it on my community board, and if you want to screenshot it, please do. And if you have a YouTube channel, please post this on your community board with contact information to the Bakersfield Police Department. As I have done, you can go to my community board and use the words that I've used. If you want to copy and paste those words, that's great. But post this on your community board. If you're on Facebook, post it on Facebook with the same words, because I do give the contact number and information to get a hold of the Bakersfield Police Department in reference to a lead or information pertaining to the whereabouts of Orrin and Orson West. It's so critical that we get to a point now in this case where we get close enough to get the boys back. That said, I'm going to see where we are here. Okay, I think we covered everything that I wanted to cover. And I could show you my community board. And the words that I've used and the contact information that I have on my YouTube community board. If I can get this thing to move, that'd be great. Oh, I can't. Okay. There's the flyer. And those are the words that you can use, copy and paste. The reward money is $125,000. This is serious business. So for those out there that know the whereabouts of these boys, all you got to do is just pick up the phone and make a phone call. Any information. We need to rescue them. And I believe that that's the proper word, rather than recover them. But yeah, take a screenshot. If you haven't, let me go back real quick. Take a screenshot of what I have up here that was given to me by LV and her team. Capture that. See if I can straighten it out a little bit. Oh, that's it. And put it on your community board. If you have one on YouTube or if you have a Facebook page, and join in and help out. The more we can make the community aware of what we're doing and the work that we're doing, faster we can get to resolve. Faster we can get to resolve. And we can all get on with our lives and move on to the next case and the next case and the next case, because it just seems like the world is just turning these cases over faster than we can get them resolved. It's unfortunate. But as I said this afternoon, spiritually we're connected. We got to do better. We got to do better. And divine attention, when it comes to family, is the most important. Keeping your eye on your kids, knowing where your children are. And just to let them know, it's not to be nosy. It's just to let me know where you are in the event something happens. Because the majority of the time, the parents don't know what happened. The parents don't know where they are. They couldn't tell you where they went or anything else like that. So prevention is a valuable tool as well. Preventing stuff like this from happening. And with that said, I think I've covered what I wanted to cover here tonight. Given you my due diligence as to what I've been able to at least get to a point regarding into this case, to share with you all the information that I wanted to share with you. So going back to that, if we have Any questions, any comments, any closing comments? I'll be glad to. I'll be glad to go over them with you. You're welcome, Mary. I try to cover as much information to bring everyone up to speed as possible because there's just so much out there. And most people, they go in bits and pieces, and it's hard to find different channels that are either going to give you what you're looking for or just lead you on with speculation, exaggeration, so forth. But we heard it tonight. We heard it directly from the news media. We heard it directly from at least the California City Police. We heard a little bit from the Bakersfield Police Department, how they've been able to follow up and pick up this case to continue the investigation. And so we'll stay on it. We'll stay on it. We shall stay on it. Jennifer Rebecca, well, thank you. Thank you for saying that. I'm not here to waste my time. I'm not here to give you speculation on anything. I want to let you do all of the perceptual research you need to do for your own benefit. Just share with you what was already discovered and mentioned and told and informed. And then we can pick it up together. And then as we move forward, we have a better idea of the direction in which the truth is going to be realized. Thank you for the blue hearts. Thank you for the blue hearts. And if anyone from the biological family is in the chat room watching tonight's video live, our hearts are with you. We want the boys found. From the adoptive parents and their family, we want the boys found. Bakersfield Police, California Police, and all of those law enforcement officials that are involved in this case, we want the boys found. That's why I'm doing this. That's why we're all involved in doing this. Because we want the boys found. We don't want to keep asking, where are the boys? We just want them found. Intact, alive, so that healing can start for them as well as everyone else involved. Everyone else involved. And I thank all of you that have stuck out tonight's live. You know me. Once I get started, I keep going. But I just like to make sure that the information that I'm putting out is comprehensive. We have a start, we have a middle, and at least we are up to date and to a point to where we can continue. And I hope I've done that for some of you tonight. You know me. And as for the question, am I still working on the Kanika Jenkins case? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. And working on some information that I always look to get confirmation on information when I cover cases. So time will has always been my best friend, and being patient and waiting for confirmation. And then that's when I can turn around and deliver. And so that's where the case is at best right now, is waiting for confirmation on certain pieces of information I was able to discover. Once I do get it, I'll come back and deliver it. Also, as I stated in the beginning of the live, I'm looking to speak with Joseph Cole, the father of Kiera Cole, a woman who went missing October 2nd of 2018 out of Chicago, postal worker, and continue to work on that particular case and to get fine-tuned information directly from a family member. If I can have them on my platform and we can, share some information with you, love to have it. So if anyone is in contact with Mr. Joseph Cole, let him know. John Q is looking to speak with him. Also, the Kendrick Johnson cases come to light, and I'm also looking to speak with the family of Kendrick Johnson in light of the information that they're willing to share with us on this platform as well. So I am working a number of different cases simultaneously to this, but I don't try to overburden myself because, as I said, this kind of casework consumes a lot of time. And the best time that can be used in present time, that is a time that you do have with your family. And that's where I spend a lot of my time, with my family. But also, there's a part of me that has that extra time to devote to covering cases like this for other people's family. Because, as I said before, we're spiritually connected. So we are responsible. If no one has any questions or comments or anything of that nature, I'm going to wrap it up. And as soon as I get new information or updated information on this case, I'll be right back at you. You know how I work. And we'll just take it from there. Thank you to all that have joined us in tonight's live. Like I said, I hope it was informative. It does give you a little bit more of a better insight as to what is going on, how things are moving, who else is involved, how they are involved, and where this case is leading. So I want to thank you all. Alton Harris. Well, thank you. Thank you, Jennifer Rebecca, Mary Hardison. And I do apologize to question everything in regards to that little occurrence that happened earlier. I hope you're not mad at me. It was a mistake. It was mentioned. So it's easier to forgive, to say, okay, people make mistakes. Okay, well, we'll see next time. If I go in the chat room and I get booted out, I'm going to have a couple of words with that John Q guy. Amazing 80, Charlene Harvey, Tracy Keene. Thank you. Just rolling with it. All of you. Vanessa Jones for moderating tonight. I believe I had made Miss D. Walsh a moderator earlier. Whether she's still with us or not, thank you for moderating tonight. And to all of you, spend time with your family, love them, stay vigilant. It's okay to give your divine attention to them. There's nothing in a book or anybody that can keep you from showing the kind of divine attention. And you can do it lovingly. You don't have to do it with a stern fist. You can do it lovingly and keep everybody tight. We live in a crazy world today. Obviously, it demonstrates that on a daily basis by delivering news, such as the type of news that we've covered here tonight. We don't want anybody else going missing. We don't want anybody shot up. We don't want anyone to leave before their time. All of us have a purpose. I think God has given us that purpose to fulfill in some way, shape, or form. I feel that I'm doing my purpose, sharing with you tonight, as I've always done in my lives, about anything that we can get together on and talk about and interact with. So once again, much love to all of you. I'm going to wrap it up, and I'll be back. I'll be back, and we can proceed. With that said, be well and stay blessed. Godspeed. Take care. Until then.